Hey everyone, welcome to day 2 of 100 days of VueJS. You'll notice it's a little bit lighter outside than when I started last time. That's because I spent all morning struggling with API protocols, and now you get to benefit from that. So what we're going to be doing today, we are going to be learning about Vuex. We're going to be accessing a server with Axios and learning about JSON API. What we're going to be doing in terms of our app. So you remember we made our basic app yesterday, and we had a list here on the home page, and we can click through and go to a video view page. And today we're going to add tags. So you can see this is tagged with JavaScript and ES 2015. Let's click that, and it'll take us to a tags page, which only has the videos that are tagged with ES 2015. So this is a common way to navigate an app like this. And in addition to improving the user experience, it's also going to teach us a lot about using data. To start off, let's review our homepage from last time. So we have a v4 that goes through these videos, and then it has the video box that's within a link. So that is what's here. And those videos, that list, it comes from this in the data, and it's from this.$store.state.videos. And then if we go to the store index, we'll see that the videos is just an array of objects. And so the first thing we're going to do today is take that array of objects and put it on the server. I actually spent quite a bit of time this morning debating how to set up the server and trying out different options. So first, because this is cutting-edge JavaScript, I thought maybe I'll do GraphQL, but that is taking on too many new things at once. You would not enjoy having me muddle through that. Next, I thought, well, let's go super basic. Let's do a basic REST API. And that's actually what we're going to start with, but we run into the limitation of that pretty quickly. And so what I settled on was doing JSON API. So we're going to start with a basic REST one, and then once we start to add in relationships, we're going to transfer it to JSON API, because by then, we'll have learned enough about Vuex that it'll make sense, the transformations we have to do. I've already got the server all prepared. This is what our API is going to look like at first. So we're going API/videos/1, and then we're going to get an ID, a name, a description. It's just going to be an object that has all the data that we currently have in here. And we can do it for 2 as well. And then videos is just a list of all of them. This is really simple, and this will just help us get used to using Axios and Vuex to bring in data from the server. So first what we're going to do is we're going to add Axios. Axios is how we're going to be making HTTP requests. All right, so we've done that, and let's see if it's saved in the package JSON. There we are. Next, we need to set up our HTTP requests. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a service called API that we're going to be using to access our API. And so we're going to import Axios from Axios. And then we're going to be exporting a function, which then will return a new instance of Axios. So basically, we export the function, and we call the function to create a new instance of Axios. So axios.create, and then we're going to put in our options. The big important one is base URL. And so yours might be different, but mine is going to be localhost 3000/API. So you'll notice this starts with localhost 3000 API, And then depending on which resource we want, there's something different. So that's our base URL. And then the rest of them, I'll admit I just copied and pasted from a tutorial. I kind of know what they do. Basically, it says we're accepting application JSON. I don't know why we need both of these, but yeah, it works. And we will deal with it later when we need to actually do authentication. So this is creating our basic API, and on this we can call .get, and that will get us the results of a URL. Let's go ahead and try that. We'll go ahead and go into our home component, and first we'll import what we just made from services/API, and then let's try and return it. Instead of getting it from the state, we'll get it from here. And don't worry, we'll be going back to the state eventually. This is just to experiment. Okay, and we'll call get, and then we'll call videos. And of course, we have to call this as the function. Okay, so we can see that there are no errors in the console, but it's blank. So let's go ahead and go to the view inspector, and we'll look at the home component, and we'll see that the videos, it has a promise instead of an array. And so that's because Axios returns a promise. And so we need to give that promise time to complete time to resolve before we assign it to something. And the thing is, we can't do that in the data function, but we can use the mounted function. So this runs when the component is first mounted, and we can go ahead and do stuff in here that might take a little while to resolve. So we'll set a default in the data of an empty array, and then in mounted, we'll call .get videos, and then we'll call .then, and it'll resolve to the videos, and then we can call this .videos equals videos. So once this returns, then it should set videos onto the data. And you can see we have 6 blank things. But didn't we have 8? That's interesting. So let's go ahead and put a debugger here and see what we have. So the videos, turns out, is a hash, and we need to call .data on the videos, or on the response, because videos isn't a very good name, is it? It needs to be response. So then we can get response.data, and then that should give us what we want. There we go. All right, so we are getting data from the server. But let's do a little bit better. So on mounted, this looks a little bit ugly. You know, promises were so 2 years ago. It's all about async await now. But we can't do that in mounted. But what we can do is create a method that is async. So we'll call it load videos. And then we can use await in there. So we can take this and do let response equals await api.getVideos. And then we can set this .videos equals to response.data. So this is doing the same thing as the promise, but it's just a little bit nicer, especially when you have longer functions. All right, and so we're going to call load videos. And my nemesis, commas, strikes again. All right, it's loading very nicely. And just to prove that we really are getting it from the server, I'll go ahead and delete videos from the state. And look, it's still loading. But there is an issue. If we click here, now this isn't loading because we were still relying on that array in the store for the view page. But rather than bring all these back, I say instead, we load the data into the state on Vuex. And to do that, we're going to need to learn a little bit more about Vuex. We can't just, do like api.get right here, because that would return a promise. It would also make it kind of weird if we needed to change the state later. So we're not going to be, putting functions in the state. We're going to be setting the state from our mutations, and our mutations are going to be called from our actions. So let's go ahead and work backwards. So our videos, we're going to start off with an empty array. That's going to be our default. Then in our mutation, we're going to make something called set videos. And so the first argument of any mutation is the state. And then the second argument is, whatever you want it to be. In this case, it's going to be videos. So I say whatever you want it to be, but most people are going to put the stuff they're setting. And if you don't do it, that's probably going to throw people off. All right, and so I'm going to have the state and set the videos on it to videos. And if you're new to this, it might look weird to have something called set videos that just does this. Why not call state.videos equals videos from wherever you're calling the mutation? And the reasoning behind this is that you have a time travel debugger in the view tools, and so you can undo and redo any mutations. And so that's very nifty and handy, and it also is helpful for if you want an undo button later on. So it is a bit verbose, but it does have benefits. Now let's go ahead and create an action that's going to call set videos. And we already happen to have the action that we need mostly. So it's the load videos method that we used before. So let's go ahead and paste that in. And so the difference here is that instead of calling this .videos and setting it on there directly, we're going to get the commit function. And so the commit is one of the options you can get in any action. And then we're going to call commit, and we're going to give it the mutation, which is set videos. And then we're going to give it the response.data. Notice we are calling commit and then giving the name of the mutation. We are not passing the state. That comes in automatically, but we are passing in the videos. All right, so if we can get something to call load videos at the right time, then it should load the videos. If, all right, it says API is not defined because I copied and pasted it in wrong. All right, so let's get something to call load videos. And what do you know? We're already calling load videos and mounted. All we have to do is make sure it calls the correct load videos. So now instead of calling the method that was here before, which it no longer is, we're going to get our store and then call dispatch. And it's going to call the load videos action. So when this is called, it should load the videos. Now we need to be able to access the videos from this component. So data is not going to work because it's going to be changing. So let's use computed now. And we'll have the computed property, which is a function for the videos. And it's going to return this.store.state.videos. And now let's see this all in action. So we forgot to delete that. And now our homepage is working again. So this is coming directly from the store. And while we're thinking about it, let's go ahead and take a look at our store in the View Inspector. So here, this is the Vuex tab in the View Inspector. And you can see that we have this mutation that we did. And we also have the state. So this is the state from our store. And it has videos, and it is an array of 8 videos. And so this is what can be accessed anywhere from our app. And this set videos thing is the reason that we have it as a mutation instead of just calling it from the action. And so if you have more than one of these, you can see the process of your state changing. And that's really cool and really useful for debugging. All right, now let's go and see if the other page in our app works. Click here, and it sure looks like it works. Right. We'll refresh just in case. And now it's not working. So like I wonder why that is. Well, not quite. Well, let's reload this. Oh, that's interesting. So here in our debugger, we don't have the set videos. It looks like that has not been played. And so this state, even though it says 8, I don't believe it. Yeah, I don't know why it still says 8, because clearly we do not have the videos anymore. And so what we need to do is call set videos when we're going to this page as well. So we have 2 options for this. One is to go ahead, take this, call it in home, and also call it in video watch. And so that'll kind of work. I think one of the issues is that we don't have a handy default for that. Okay, so that works. And just as proof, I'll go ahead and comment this out and show that it does not work without it. It was not this that caused it to be fixed. But now we are loading stuff a lot more often than we need to. So we are calling to our network. We're calling it there. And then we're calling it again. And then we're probably calling it again. So every time we go to one of those, it's loading every video. That is not ideal. So that's option 1. And actually we have 3 options. Option 2 would be to create a new thing that's like load one video, and then you feed in the params ID. And that could work. And if you have an app where you're likely to have a huge number of files, but only accessing one at a time, that is a great solution. But for our case, we're going to be accessing lots of videos, but there aren't going to be that many. I mean, we're not going to get into the thousands, I think. So instead of calling this on every screen, let's just go to our app.view and call it once when the app loads. Yeah, let's do that. And now we'll reload. And okay, I need to call it by the right name. But now it works. And go here and notice it only called the videos API once. And it's only going to call it once per session. This was a lot in this section, so let's go ahead and review what we learned. So we learned about the mounted hook, which will, whenever the component is loaded, it'll call whatever is in the function. In this case, we're calling dispatch to the store for the load videos action. So dispatch calls an action. Let's go to our store, and we have an async function for the load videos action. And so the first argument is a set of things, one of which is commit. And commit is a function which calls a mutation. And then in the mutation, we can change the state. And the data we're getting is coming from an API that we called with Axios. And that's stored in our services/API file, where we create an Axios instance, and then we can call get on that. All right, so at that point, once we've called set videos, we have the videos in the state hash, and then we can access them like this, just like we were doing before when it was just an array. This next section is going to be pretty short, but it's important. So we're switching over from a very basic REST API to JSON API. And I know the old one was in JSON and it was an API, but this is something called JSON API. It's a specification that basically tells the server and the client how to interact. So I'm using a framework on the server side to give us the specific type of data, and we're going to be starting on the client side with Vue and Vuex. We'll start off doing it manually, and later on we may consider putting in something that's more frameworky. We'll see how it goes. This is what we were doing before. It's just a straight up object when you do it like this, and then we do /videos. It is an array of straight up objects. Let's switch it over to JSON API. All right, so this is a little longer. It's also just a big mass of stuff. So let's go ahead and go back to videos/1. And here we can see the entire thing is a big object, and the first and only key is data. And there are other keys later, but it's just data for now. And then in there, you have an ID, a type, and then attributes. So the ID of 1 that matches up, the type is video, and the attributes is ID, name, description, video URL, and thumbnail. All right, and we do all of the videos, and it's similar. Once again, data is the outermost thing. And then it's an array, and each of the objects is just like the object in here, but now there's 8 of them. So as you can see, there's the ID, the type, and then the attributes, and ID, type, attributes. So what we need to do is go to our code, and we only have to process this once. We're going to process it in our load videos action in the store, because how we have it right now, this is not going to set the videos. Let's go ahead, go to our home, and yeah, that's not working. So let's go ahead and put a debugger in there and see what we can get. All right, so our response. All right, we get the data. That's good. And that data is from the Axios. Then you have to call .data again to get it from the actual response. Okay, and that data is an array of 8. And so now those are the videos. But they are not actually the attributes. So if we just took, if we let videos equals response dot data, then we have to call dot attributes whenever we wanted to get to the name or the video URL. So we're going to have to do more. We're going to have to call map. And then for each of these videos, we are going to have to basically return v.attributes. And so let's take that and we'll put it in our code. And then we can, yeah, it looks like it works. So the great thing about having a store like this is even if our API calls come in a little bit weird, we have to call .data and then map out the attributes. Even if that happens, even if they come in weirder, we just have to do it once in the load videos action. We don't have to do it on every page. And the good thing about using JSON API is that we're going to be doing the same types of things on each call. And so eventually we'll have some sort of abstraction for that. Thank you so much for trusting me for that section. I know it didn't look like we did a whole lot, but we set ourselves up so that we could succeed in the next section, where we're going to add a whole new data model to our apps. Our goal in the next section is to add tags to our app. So tags are a really common way of organizing content. So you could have tags like VueJS or JavaScript, and users can navigate through them. And in order to do that, we're going to need to learn about data relationships and how to handle those in Vuex. I've switched to a new version of the server, which now has tags and the relationships between videos and tags. So let's take a look at how our data is. So we have data that, once again, wraps up our video. And here we've got the ID, the type, the attributes. And then when the attributes is done, we have a fourth key on data, which is relationships. And so the relationships, it has all the tags, and in tags it has data. And then it has these two tags. And notice here it just has the ID and the type, not any of the actual data in the tags. That happens in included, which is where we store the actual tags. So here it has the tag with ID and the type, and then the attributes. And so the name of that tag is JavaScript. And it has the relationships of that tag, which we won't reference right now. And then it has our second tag, which has the attributes of the name, and that name is ES2015. If we put in /videos, so we get all the videos, then you'll see we have the array in data. And each of the items is going to have relationships where it has the tags and then the array of tags that are attached to it. And then at the very end, we're going to have our included right here. And this is the list of all the tags. So ES2015, promises, ES2016, and JavaScript. So that's what our data looks like now. Let's go ahead and see how we can use it. So here, we'll start by just listing out the tags below the videos header. Just an easy way to get going. So to start with, we'll need some tags in the state. So we'll need to take them from this response and get them into the state. So we'll have an empty array as the default, and we'll get a setTags mutation. And we're going to set state.tags equals tags and pass in state and tags. So noticing a pattern here, I bet we could abstract that later. But anyways, so here we're going to want to commit set tags and then call it with tags, which we need to get from somewhere. So let's go ahead and explore this. So we'll inspect it and get to our debugger. All right, so videos here is still the same. But if we go to our response, so we go to .data, and instead of going to .data, we can go to .included. And right now, those are all tags, but if we include other types of stuff, they may not be. So let's go ahead and filter, and we'll go ahead and I for item, and I.type equals to tag. And of course, they're all going to return because they're all tags, but later they may not, so it's good to have that. All right, and for that, we're going to want to map. And now we know they're tags, we can do that. So we're going to get the attributes. Good stuff. All right, let's go ahead and copy this and put it here. So we'll let tags equal to this. And then we can set tags. And now we have tags in our state. So if we go here, we can get tags from our state like this, and then use them right here. So we'll do a div and a v4, tag in tags. We'll have the key as just the tag.name. And I should have done the equal. Okay. And then we list the tag.name. And this should just show us that it's working. There we go. We have all 4 of our tags. But where we really want them is down here below the videos where they're applied. That's going to take a little bit more effort. Before we take on that big project, I want to do something that, if you know Vuex, it's probably been driving you crazy that I haven't done this yet. So I'm going to import map state from Vuex. And what this allows us to do is everywhere we do like this.store.state name, it allows us to just all in one go. So map state, and then array of videos and tags, and boom. This should all still work. And it does. So yeah, you don't have to write that pattern over and over again. Okay, now on to our more difficult goal, which is to getting the tags below the videos. What we're going to want is, so we want this for loop, but we want it down here, and we want it per video. So we'll want something like video.tags. And where could we get this? Well, we have to go back to our store. So let's go to our debugger here. So we go to load videos, we put in the debugger, and we will mess around with our data. So here we have videos, and we'll look at all of them, and we have gone too far into the data because it's not referencing any tags. So we get response.data.data. Okay, so that's all our videos, and what we're wanting is in the relationships. All right, here. So what we're going to want to do with this code is we're going to want to not map the attributes just yet. So we're going to do that right here. And then we have the videos, and we can put the relationships on there. So we're going to have videos.forEach, and then for each video, we're going to take the attributes hash, and we're going to set our tag IDs on there. And we're going to get those from v.relationships. And let's go ahead and look at what we have. So relationships.tags.data, and then map the ID. .tags.data.map, and t for tag, t.id. All right, and let's go ahead and rerun this and see if our attributes are good now. So and we're going to look in the attributes, and now we have the tag IDs. Perfect. So we are partway there. We'll go back here to our home component, and we'll do our tag IDs. And tag ID and tag IDs. Tag ID, there's no .name, so just tag ID. And let's see if we can get those displaying. There we go. We've got tag 4 and tag 1 here, just tag 4 there, 4 and 3 there. So we're making progress, but we don't want to display the ID. We want to display the tag name. Fortunately, we have everything we need in here. So we've got the tag ID and we have a list of tags. So let's go to our methods, and we will have a get tag method, and it will take in a tag ID, and then it will return. So we'll do this dot tags, and then we will find based on t.id is equal to tag ID. And once again, I'm not doing triple equals because we don't know whether these are whether they are strings or integers. All right, so we do get tag for the tag ID, and commas. Okay. It is not working. Let's go ahead and do a console.log here. So we'll do the tag ID and then the list of tags to make sure everything is going as expected. All right, so the ID is coming in nicely. And for each of these, it is just a name and not an ID. So the ID is not coming back as one of the attributes from our JSON. But we can fix that. So we'll go to our store, and just like we did here, we will, all right, we'll do the same thing here. We'll put the map here. So this is going to be after we put the ID on the attributes. And then tags.forEach. And then we're going to take each tag and set the ID on the attributes to equal. And it'll be, this one will be easier. It'll just be t.id. All right, nice and easy. We don't have to dig down into the relationships hash at all. And now it's working. So we have this hash here. So we just have to call .name on that. So get tag and then .name. Perfect. Let's actually go ahead and make these buttons. So they're set off a little bit more from the description. And now that we have them showing up here, for consistency, we'll want to put them here as well. So this will be a nice chance to do a little bit of review and a little bit of abstraction as we repeat a little bit of what we've already done in a new context. So first, a logistical thing. This video is way too big. So let's go to our video watch page and go ahead and make the height 600 pixels. Okay, now we'll actually be able to see it on page load. And then we'll go ahead and go and grab our v4 for tag IDs here and put it below the video player. And we've got the video, and it's going to have the tag IDs, but we don't have get tag. And so at this point, we could do one of two things. One, we could copy this over, but that's not really good form, repeating stuff. Or we could put it on our store, and that is actually the correct method. So in our store is a hash called getters, and yeah, that's where we're going to get the thing called get tag. It makes sense. So a getter, they're called a little bit differently. So instead of calling it with the ID as the argument, we're going to call it like this. So if you don't understand this part, don't worry about it. Basically, you create a function with the ID. That's basically the function that we had before. And then you wrap that in a function where the argument is the state. And then we use that. So we have access to the state and to the ID. And let's go ahead and take, did I already delete this? Yeah, okay. So we'll do state.tags.find. State.tags.find. And then the tag t.id is equal to the ID. All right, and we'll return that. And then we can go ahead and delete that again from our home page. Then we're going to use something called map getters, which works pretty much like map state. And we're going to include just one, which is get tag. And then can see that it's working correctly here. And then to get it working in videowatch.view, we are just going to have to import map getters from Vuex. And then in our computed, we're going to map getters and put in get tag. All right, we'll click here and it's working correctly. All right, so we have our tags and they're showing up below the videos, both on the video watch page and on the video list. We've got this functionality down, but I do want to make them a little bit more noticeable. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to do some styling real quick. So I'm going to add a class to this. So I'm setting the spans so they go side by side, which is important once we make them bigger. And then this class, I'm going to call it tag button. And I'm going to do that set of things for both. All right, and make this a span, make this a span, and make this class tag button. And the reason I'm doing it with both is setting them with tag button is because if we do our CSS scoped here, it won't show up on the other one. There are ways to get around this. I could make a component just for the button, but since this is, well, it's not a quick video, but since we don't want the video getting excessively long, I'll just make it so the buttons that are only affected if they have the class tag button. All right, and so now they're a little bit more noticeable. So this looks good, but if this is where we stopped, then you would probably think to yourself, hey, why did we do all that work with relationships when we could have just put an array of strings onto the videos? And yeah, that'd be a good question. So the reason we have it as a relationship is so that we can click these and it won't take us to the video page, but it'll take us to a page that contains all the videos that have this tag. And we're going to do that in the next section. We'll start by creating a new route. So the path will be tag/ID, and then the name will just be tag. And then the params are equal to true, and now we need to decide on a component name. I think we'll go with tag video list. All right, so let's go ahead and import that. And then we'll go ahead and make it. All right, so we'll start off with our template. And our script. We'll start off with something simple, just to show that it works. And then we'll go to our tag, and then doesn't matter right now which ID it is. All right, videos with tag. So this route works. We are in the correct view. And then we can, if we want to, get the ID. So this .route.params.id. So with tag 3, we're going to want to get the name of that tag. And, good news, we have the get tag, which we already created. So that will be on our computed hash. And we will map getters and get the get tag. And then we will import map getters from Vuex. So let's see if that works. We'll get tag, and then we'll get the name. Yep, video with tag promises. We'll do quotes around it to set it off a little bit. Perfect. All right, and now we're going to want our videos, but we're not going to want all the videos. We are just going to want the videos on the tag. So we'll call it videos on tag. And we already have the tag. Let's go ahead and make it so we get it in one place computed. So we return this.getTag and then feed in this.route.params.id. And then we can just call tag.name here, and we can use tag in here in the videos on tag. And we'll make sure this works. It is not, because it expects us to return a property. We'll just do that for now. All right, so this computed property is working. Now we need to get the tags, the videos that are on this tag. So there's going to be 2 steps to getting those videos. The first is going to be getting the video IDs onto the tag itself. And to do that, we're going to go to the load videos action. So just like we put the tag IDs here onto the attribute of the videos, we're going to put the video IDs onto the attributes of the tag. So t.attributes.video IDs, and we're going to do something very similar here. t.relationships.videos.data.map. And the reason I can do this without actually looking at the data is because we're using JSON API. And that says that it's going to be structured the same. All right, so now we can access the video IDs on the tag. Let's go ahead and do that here just to demonstrate that it's working. So we'll do a v4, and for video ID in tag.video IDs. and we will be doing videos on tags soon, replacing that here. But this is to demonstrate that it's working. And we have multiple root elements. We fix that with a div. And then we fix this by doing a key. All right, all our errors are gone. And now we'll just show video ID. All right, videos 4, 5, and 6. Good. So those are the ones that have the tag of promise. So we're doing good so far. Now we need to take that list of video IDs and turn it into an actual list of videos. So the tactic we're going to use is we're going to take our list of videos and we're going to filter them. And we're going to filter them by their IDs. And so say, okay, if this ID is in the list of IDs that we have on the tag. So if this.tag.video IDs, and we can use the includes. And so if it includes this ID of this video, so that should return us an array of just those 3 videos. And we're actually going to have to call toString on this ID because these video IDs are all strings and this one is an integer. All right, so let's go ahead and videos in videos on tag. And let's see these displaying. All right, we have the videos. Awesome. Now we want to make them display. And we want to make them display like these videos. So one thing we could do is copy-paste all the code that makes this up. So just go to the home and just copy everything we can. But that's actually a really bad idea. Well, first we just copy this stuff. But then if we want to use it somewhere else, we have to copy again if we change it in one place, yada, yada, yada. Reusability, that's why we have components. So we're going to make a component that we can use in both places. All right, so we're going to put this in the components folder, and then we're going to name it, well, first we're going to start off with video list, because it's probably always going to be displayed within a video list. And then the thing that's going to be displayed is a video. So that name makes sense. I know it looks kind of weird just saying it, but this does follow the Vue best practices. So video list video, a video that's in the video list. All right, so we've got our template, and we'll go ahead and copy this. So the stuff inside the v4, copy that down, and we're gonna put in a video list video, and we're gonna pass it a video, which is the video, and I think that's correct. And we'll have to import video list video from /components, video list video, and put it in our components. I don't know why we have to do 3 things just to use a component, but whatever. Okay, so that goes in there, and now we need to actually make this stuff in here work, because yeah, probably some of the stuff we need is actually down here. So we'll start with a script. Okay, and we are going to need get tag and whatever get tag requires. So map getters get tag, that's going to go in here. And I think that is all we need. Let's go ahead and give it a try. See if it works. Nope. Okay. It's because we did that when we didn't need it, and also it's going to yell at me for not importing the map getters here. All right. Yeah, so this is not working. Video is not defined on the instance. Okay, I think I know what the issue is. So even though this is clearly passed in, we still need to do something in here. We need to define it as one of the props. So one of the props is video, and lo and behold, now it works. Except our our styling is off because it's scoped. So all this stuff that's video box just got put in here. Although, you know, that's nice that we don't have to, and that's style, not template. What was I thinking? It is late over here, by the way. It's almost 10 p.m. All right, so this can be scoped. Ling SCSS. All right. Reload. And now it looks beautiful. Excellent. But we did not do all that work just so this one page could look the exact same. No, we want to be able to go to a tag here and have the exact same thing show up. So let's do that. Let's go to our tag video list page, and here, instead of just displaying all those, that hash, we're going to put in our video list video. And then we're going to feed in our video there. Close that out, and we're going to have to import video list video. And put it in our components hash. All right, and there we go. Beautiful. We are almost done for the day. We have one thing left. We want to be able to click these buttons and go to the tag page. Luckily, we've already learned everything we need to know in order to do this. So we'll start on the video watch page. And here we have the button. And then we're just going to wrap this in a router link. And we're going to put it as a to, and then have the name is tag. And then the params, we're going to feed it an ID. And it's the tag ID. And then close that around that button. All right, and now we're going to do the same thing for these buttons. Those are in tag video list view. Actually, no, they're not. They are in video list video. And we click these, well, we're already there. Awesome. And that's it for today. Thanks for sticking with me. And I cannot believe how much we learned about Vuex. I mean, just in one day. And I'm so excited for what we're going to be learning in the future. On that note, just a heads up, I will not be recording a video tomorrow because I've got a bunch of client work to do. But if all goes well, then I should be back the day after that. And I think that's when I'm just going to start tackling Vuetify. And by that, I mean I'm going to use Vuetify to make our app a lot more beautiful. So it'll follow a consistent design pattern instead of my like late 90s, whatever it is we have here. So as always, if you have questions, comments, leave them below. This is YouTube, so I think I'm supposed to say like and subscribe, so like and subscribe. And I'll see you in a couple days.